And this sounds terrible to say, but as we kind of grew up, I tried to knock her off. I tried. It's, I, I hope she doesn't see this. She won't because she doesn't do social media, but all of my friends know my sister. They've all met her. And yeah, I actually tried to kill her 3 times. Do you want me to
Wow.
go into those?
And here we are with my friend Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Stephanie.
I'm so excited that you agreed to do this. We go way back.
Way
Uh,
back.
you knew me when?
Oh, I don't know. How long have you been sober?
Uh, well, this week it will be 17 years.
Then I've known you that long.
Yes, you were there. You were there when I came
Yeah.
in crying and a mess and yes, I want to know though from you. I know your whole story. Um, cuz we got it like that. But you know what? I want you to start from when you were a kid and felt different. Can you like take me all the way back then?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I remember I was good friends with my dad. We were buddies, and he would let me drive. And I was fascinated with machinery, cars, and I would sit next to him, and I could either steer or push the gas. So we had a good time together. And then my mom got pregnant with my sister, and it was kind of I think because I was almost 5, so I remember it being very difficult for her. And she was in bed a lot and this and that. And I was an only child, right, for 5 years. So finally, when my sister was born, I wanted nothing to do with her. I did not like that at all. Nothing to do with her. And this sounds terrible to say, but as we kind of grew up, I tried to knock her off. I tried. It's, I, I hope she doesn't see this. She won't because she doesn't do social media, but all of my friends know my sister. They've all met her. And yeah, I actually tried to kill her 3 times. Do you want me to
Wow.
go into those?
Oh my, yes, just for my own curiosity.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty fascinating. We laugh about it now. Don't get me wrong, I love my sister dearly, but I just didn't want another person to interfere with my connection with my parents. Okay. The first time we lived in Kansas City, Missouri, and we lived in a house that was a little bit up on a hill. There was 2 flights of cement concrete stairs down to the street. And Sue, her name's Sue, she was in her little playpen. Is that what they're called? Yeah. And I knew that it had a loose rung in there because it was a hand me down from my aunt. Because I had 7 cousins, so everything was a hand me down. And I knew that because I remember my Aunt Ruth telling my mother about the rung, like, be careful. Well, I was around the corner on the porch, and she's in there crawling around. She was kind of a toddler, I guess, because she could kind of crawl and walk a little bit. And I went over there and took out the rung, and I stood back and watched her, and she toddled over and went down at least 1 flight of those concrete stairs. And she's screaming, and my mother comes tearing out there. In the meantime, I'm around the corner. I took off to the backyard, and she was okay, banged up though, scrapes and cuts and bruises. So that was the first time. I'll see what happened the second time. We kept moving, so we moved from that house, I think, to I'm pretty sure that was, Raytown. We moved out to Raytown. It was a brand new house, and, we were there, and Sue and I were playing doctor nurse in her bedroom. We each had our own bedrooms, and so I went in the bathroom and started stirring up a bunch of concoctions. I don't know, you probably are not young enough or to what do you remember methylate? It was a thing you put on cuts, it was orange color, and it
Mhm.
had actually had a skull and crossbones on it. Well, I got that and, calamine lotion and a bunch of things and mixed it up. And then I went in the bedroom, I said, "Okay, I'm the doctor. I've got your medicine ready." And she took a little sip, of course, it tasted terrible. I said, "Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more." Oh my god. She started screaming and went in there to my parents, and they asked me, "What did you do? What did" 'cause I was always doing something to her. And, they actually had to take her to the hospital and get her stomach pumped. And I was outside in the car. I was scared to death because I knew my dad was gonna really give me a whipping. And, so that was that time.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad was, let's say pretty strict as far as the, punishments and all that. And I was acting out this whole time, I was not an easy child.
Do you think that you were knowing what I know about you, do you think that you were angry, like an angry kid? Just do you think that you felt
Um,
like you didn't fit in some way?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a temper for sure. And yeah, I never did feel like I fit in, even in my grade school classes. And uh, I was a gay child, and I knew I was different. That made me feel different, but I didn't know what it was yet. I just knew I felt different. And I had some teachers that were kind of ornery to me because they knew. And then I had some other teachers that were very kind to me because they could see that I was my boyishness, and, yeah, so it was kinda
You
rough
were you were boyish from the jump.
from the jump. Yeah. Mhm. I actually had a little girlfriend across the street when I was, I was about 5 or 6 years old, Charlene. Yeah, and, I found out later on that she had gotten married, and so she wasn't that way, she wasn't gay, but, I didn't change.
So
So
when did you start to I mean, you said that your parents though, or at least your mom, from what
Uh-huh.
I know, was supportive.
Yeah, they kinda were, especially my dad. He was kinda pretty supportive of me.
Do you think they knew what was up?
I maybe, it was the '60s or the '50s, 1950s, and then the '60s.
One
Eh
story I love that I want you to tell is how you would dress like a boy and you like to just not have a shirt on.
Yes.
And
Oh,
and how that came to an end.
oh my god. Okay, well, I wouldn't wear a shirt in the summertime, it was hot, and I remember my little neighborhood boys who were my friends, they said we had a cave we had dug under the chain link fence, a little like a tunnel, and we would sit in there, and they would tease me and say, "You're gonna have to wear a bra. You're gonna get boobs." And I said, "I am not." And they said, "Well, what's gonna happen when you do get them? Because they're gonna grow." And I said, "I'll cut them off." And that's how I felt about it. So, I think when I started to mature a little bit around, I think 12 or 13, I was still going without a shirt. But I remember my parents took us to the ice cream shopping center, and they said it was okay, but don't they were gonna go in and get the ice creams with my sister, and they said, "You just wait in the back seat for us." And it was summertime, so the windows were down. Well, here comes another little family next to us, and the child was a friend of mine in school. And she came over to the window and she was like, s sca she said she couldn't believe I didn't have a shirt on. And it was then that I kinda told my mom that I thought I might need a training bra, because I knew I was gonna be going to, I don't know, gym class, and you'd have to disrobe and all that. So that's how that happened. I didn't like it though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you start getting older and what happens? When did you start drinking?
Well, officially probably 15 or 16, but before that, my whole family drank. And all of my aunts and uncles, my grandma, Mamie, they all had cocktails, and I would take sips off of everybody's drink. And if they left some on the table, I would drink it. As my grandmother liked Tom Collins, I think, and that's kind of tasty. So I really liked that.
Tom
And
Collins was one of my first drinks. Oh, yeah.
I
High
know,
school, we loved a Tom Collins.
yeah, it's delicious.
I think it's gin, though.
I guess so, I don't know. I didn't like it when I grew up, but oh, good grief. So I think I got drunk for the first time when I was about 13. I had a slumber party, and us girls were down in the basement, and I ran up the stairs because I knew where my parents' liquor cabinet was in the kitchen, and grabbed a bottle and took it down there, so we were all drinking, and I think I got pretty drunk for the first time, and I liked it. Yeah, liked it a lot. So, yeah, I think the first time I really started drinking was in high school. I was probably a junior, around 15 or 16, and I started driving when I was 7, so I used to go spend time with my other grandma up in Montana, and she lived on a ranch, and, kids on ranches, they drive early. She taught me to drive a stick shift, so I knew how to drive, so I was also taking the car. We had a couple of cars, so when my parents weren't at home, I would get in the car and go pick up one of my friends, and we'd get some booze, and off we'd go. Yeah.
So you drink through high school, no big consequences, or did you have any big ones in high school?
Oh, huge, huge consequences. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, one night was out, I think, with my friend Brenda, and I had a VW. My parents had bought me a bug, a little VW bug. I think it was a 64 when I was like a junior in high school, had a sunroof and all that. Well, we were out one evening, it was winter time, and we'd been drinking all night because we could go from Missouri was the age was 21 to drink, but Kansas was like 18, so we'd just go over there and I faked our IDs. I had a little business going where I'd fake all my classmates' IDs. So, we had quite a bit to drink that night, and I remember we were going home down Highway 71, and those traffic signs with the flashing yellow lights on them, and they were doing some work over there. It was nighttime now. It was dark, but the lights were flashing. Well, I hit every one of those. There was about 15 of them. Boom, boom, boom. And my friend or Brenda or whoever it was I was with, Sandy, she said, it's kind of cold. Feels cold. And so I turned the heat on and said, yeah, it's freezing. And she was going to go to my house and spend the night with me because she was too drunk to go to her house. So we got home. We go in my room. We go to sleep. We pass out. The next morning, my dad is storming into my bedroom. "What did you do to your car?" And I said, I don't know, not guilty." And and I looked out my bedroom window, the whole side, the fenders, and the door even was off on the right side where she had been sitting. It was crazy.
So what I mean, did your parents, like, punish you? Were they upset? Did they kick you out of the house? What happened?
No, they just, made I don't know if they made me pay for it, I can't quite remember what happened, but, um, yeah, it was, they really they knew I drank, and they didn't seem to be too affected by it, maybe because the whole family drank, you know? I don't know if
Interesting.
my parent I think they were alcoholic. My sister's she turned out not to be she drinks, but responsibly, but most of my family was alcoholic. Yeah.
So what happens? You graduate, you move out of the house?
I did. In fact, I met my first girlfriend, and we moved out, together.
Where did you move to? To LA?
Um, Not yet. We were 3 years to yeah, I didn't move out to LA till I was about 21, and then
Okay.
we came out together, Bobby and I, and, 2 Siamese cats, in another VW Bug, a '67. Got out here, I discovered the women's, gay bars. Our neighbor down the stairs, he was a guy, I think his name was Rick, and he introduced us to marijuana. That was like I'd never had anything like that. I just drank beer and got drunk. So I sort of liked that too. I liked everything. But anyway, he told us where the women's bars were, and we started going, and I wanted to go all the time, every night. And Bobby had a night job, and we only had the one car, so she wanted me to come and pick her up when her shift was over. I'd be down at the bar. I'd say, "No, you better find your own way home." I didn't give a shit about it. And she'd call the bar and everything. Excuse me. It was crazy. Pretty out of hand already.
So did she break up with you?
And no, I started cheating on her with every girl I could find in the bars. So we still lived together, but finally she found another girlfriend. And yeah, I can't remember what I did. If we stayed together in that apartment, I can't quite remember. It's quite a long time ago. But
So
anyway,
then
we went our separate ways, kind of. Yeah.
mhm.
Hmm.
I mean, again, not I'm not like a therapist. I mean, I do try to diagnose people as much as I can, but but just with personality disorders, I'm not like no, but you sound like you were angry and still not
Yes.
low self-esteem. I mean, not feeling great about yourself, or I don't know, like you tell me, maybe it's just like alcoholic family, I mean, but it almost sounds like you were drinking at stuff, like you were
Yeah.
mad and knowing some of your future drinking.
Sure. Yeah, it could have been my dad, my relationship with my dad. I've had a lot of therapy too, believe me, I needed it. I've had 5 therapists, but that was after I got sober, and I really needed the outside help. And, yeah, I started getting, pretty violent when drinking. As you know, you've heard some of my drunk stories,
Yeah, tell me.
and, yeah, I would, get to a point where I was in a bar, and if I got angry about something, I would, create a bar fight. I'd fight, and, I didn't care if it was a man or a woman. I I have a lot of scars on me from fighting. I got a broken collarbone from one, and my nose has been broke about 4 times. I have a scar on my hand, yeah, a lot of
So
fighting.
funny to think of you because you're such a softie. Like
I
you're the
know.
most incredible, sweet person. It's just always incredible
Mm.
when I hear these stories about how crazy you were.
Oh, crazy is right. I mean, it even got worse, you know. Um, I got to a point where, well, I had no boundaries for one thing. Being an alcoholic in a bar, I was my own trouble of my own making most of the time. I'd see a woman, a gal in the bar I thought was attractive. I didn't care if she was with somebody, a partner or whatever. I just go over there and start trying to get her to go home with me, you know, and stuff like that. I was pretty much a bar slut. And I was a bartender sometimes, and uh, it was a different woman every night, you know, everybody loves the bartender, right? So that created a lot of issues in the bar scene. And I got to a point where there was one woman I had, you know, made a pass at her girlfriend or something. And I thought, well, I better go to this other bar for a while and stay out of the love in. I'm going to go down to the Stowaway on Ventura Boulevard. Well, she was down there gunning for me. So
The
I
partner of the one you'd hit on.
yes,
Yeah.
she was really pissed off, and she knew all the different bars around town, so she was looking for me. She wanted to, get me. I mean, gunning. She might have had a gun or a knife or something on her, and I remember fighting her in the Stowaway that night, and they had 2 really giant men bouncers, and I actually got picked up arms and legs, like, swung me out right on the sidewalk, right on my tailbone.
Wow.
I can't I can't even I remember that so clearly. Yeah.
Was the Stowaway on the same block as Oil Can Harry's?
Oil Can Harry's was a little further south,
Okay.
but yeah. Uh-huh.
That was
I
my
didn't
old neighborhood.
yeah, yeah, I know. I know. Once some friends of mine got sober, they would go there for the square dancing, you know, but I don't think I ever drank there. But I had a lot of scummy bars I would go to. Stowaway was pretty classy, but, there were other ones on Ventura Boulevard that were dives, and I really loved the dives, like Pat's Lantern, and that the name changed later to a saloon. I mean, the bathrooms were out back for Pete's sake, you know?
Right, right,
It was a
right.
little tiny bar, and because it was on Ventura, men would come in there too, you know, because they were most of them knew the gay women. They knew it was a gay bar, but if a man came in and didn't know that and started hitting on women, we'd beat him up too. I fought men in there. I remember picking one guy up like this, up against the wall. When I drank, I had, like, super strength. 'Cause physically, I'm not that big, you know, and I've always been kinda skinny and everything, but I could do it. I could fight.
So, take me to the when so then you have this girlfriend,
Mhm.
and I think she might have been married, but she broke up with you.
Oh, yeah. That was Carol.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was married, and she went back and forth between me and her husband, like, for a whole year. She'd be with me for a few weeks, maybe a month, and we lived together on Fulton in the valley. And she had 2 daughters who I loved dearly, especially the older one. Her name was, they called her Cece, but her name was Carol too. Later on, she became gay. I think that's why I, you know, was so fond of her, and she loved me, wanted to do everything and hang out with me, and I think she was about 9. And, yeah, Carol. Oh boy. Yeah, well, one of the times that, she got back together with John, her husband, and I moved back. I finally got my own apartments because I knew I was probably gonna be going back and forth for a while. So I had my new apartment on what was that on? Oxnard and Shady Glade, just right off of, Laurel Canyon. And it was upstairs, and 2 gay men owned the building, and they were so nice to me, they loved me. And anyway, so one of the breakups, I went to the Love M down on Clybourne on Van Noen. I was already drunk. I knew she was with John. I went back to my apartment. I called her up and I said, "Why is he there?" And, we got into it. And then I I had my gun there on the table in the bedroom. I I didn't say, I just fired it out the window. I fired the gun out the window and then I dropped the phone so she would think I had killed myself. But I never was suicidal. I was always homicidal. That wasn't happening. So, okay, so she thinks I'm dead. She calls the paramedics to come to the apartment. In the meantime, I'm downstairs getting in my car and I'm driving over to her apartment. So that happened. I got over there. I go in the foyer. There's like 4 different apartments off of the hallway, and ours was the first one there on the left. So I went in there and banging on the door. No, and John's in there saying, "Go home, go away. We're gonna call the police." I kicked the whole bottom of the door in, and the neighbors, of course, they hear all this. They're coming out of their doors, and I swing the gun around. I said, "Get back in your inside," you know, and they were scared to death. And I see John in there. The bottom half of the door is gone. He's in there in his jockey shorts. That made me even more furious. Hairy legs. So I tore out the door because I knew the cops were coming and went around to the back. I went all the way around the building because I knew where the bedroom was. And I had the gun. I'm pointing it in the window. What blinds are closed. But I stopped. I think I had a higher power moment. I really do. I think it was divine intervention, because I thought I only wanted to kill him, not the children, not her. So I stopped. I went back around the building to the parking lot where his Thunderbird was, that with the porthole window. It was a classic back then. I shot the fuck out of that car. I shot all the 4 tires. I shot the until I ran out of ammo. And then I thought I better hightail it out here. So I went out, got in my car, went down, I don't know, to my friends that I worked with, a gay women couple, and I thought, "I'm gonna go on the lam for a while, I'm gonna stay with them," and they were heroin addicts. So there you go. They were on the methadone program, but I stayed with them for a few days, I didn't go to work or anything. Finally, I go back to my own apartment, I figure, "Oh, it's safe to go back home." So I go back there, I live upstairs, and I put foil in all the windows. I'm up there drinking by myself, and it's all dark in there. I didn't want to go get the mail or anything. I didn't want to leave the apartment, and I parked my car like a couple blocks away, so if anybody was looking for me, they wouldn't see my car there. Finally, I go down to check the mail, and there's a detective's card uh, put on my mailbox, and it said, "Please come down to the Van Nuys court and turn yourself in and go before the judge." So I thought, "Oh, I better go do that," so I did go down there. And they let me the judge, fined me, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, they let me go on my own recognizance, but I had a court date. So, in the meantime, Carol and I got back together. This was so crazy. And she had talked to John into not pressing charges on me. So when I went to my court date, uh, the only person that was there was the landlady that wanted me to pay for the door I busted up, which I did because it was about $50 or something, which was a lot of money back then. And so that was that, Carol, and I got back together.
Now, during any
Finally,
of this, were you understanding that this had to do with your alcohol use?
no, She didn't drink. All the women I've ever been with have been Al-Anon types. Yeah.
Okay. So
They
that
would have
was not your bottom at all.
oh, no. Oh, no.
So how
Uh-uh.
take me to, like, when you quit drinking then.
Yeah, let me think about that. I was living in Van Nuys with my other girlfriend that I'd been with for 5 years. She was on my case all the time. She was a pothead, and later, just to kinda shut her up from ragging on me, I became a pothead. We'd smoke pot every night, every night, every night. But every once in a while, because alcohol was king for me, I wouldn't come home from work. Like on a Friday night, I'd go to Simi Valley with my friends and we'd all get drunk together and I'd get my alcohol fix. And the and I'd go home in a few days and she'd be all pissed off and she'd say, "You need to get this checked out. You're an alcoholic. You know, it's a disease, you need to figure it out." And so I said, "Okay," because I didn't want her to leave because she was helping me. That was the house that we bought together. Actually, my parents gave us the down payment for it, and like a fool, I put her name on the deed, so we both owned it. And, God, what a fuck. Anyway, I went to the Alcoholism Center for Women. And I said, "Okay, I'll get it checked out," so I would go down there. I went down there twice a week. I had a group therapy, and I had a single counseling with, Nuage. She was a trans woman, and I had a trans man. No, trans woman. It was a man, but she dressed like a woman and acted excuse me. There was no term for it back then.
Okay.
But in my mind, it was a real woman. I thought, "This is a woman."
Yeah.
I loved her, she was helping me. And, so anyway, what happened was I stayed sober for 8 months, and Diane, my girlfriend, she moved out when I was at work one day, and that totally just pissed me off to no limit. And she called me in a few days, said she wanted to come over and get the rest of her belongings. And so I said, "Okay." So she was gonna come over on the Saturday or whatever. Well, she showed up with her new girlfriend. So there we go again. I get the gun, I go out there. Here I am, I'm about 8 months sober. I go out there, pointing the gun and this and that. Neighbors were calling the police again. This is in the house in Van Nuys. So anyway, I go back. They leave. They take off. They're scared to death. She calls me in a few days and she says, "I want to come get my things that you need to leave the gun there and you need not to be there. And I'm going to take the gun and I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to get rid of the gun." And I said, "Okay." So I let that happen. But in the meantime, I was still really pissed off. And I went with one of my uh, friends that I met in my group. There was a bunch of gay women in this group at Alcoholism Center for Women. And my friend Kat, her name was Kat, we decided she was pissed off too. She was meaner than I was, I think. So we decided we were going to go out to the bar. We were going to slip, you know, relapse. But I was only there for one night. And my other friend, Kathy, from the same friendship circle at that or alcoholism center, came down and got us and took care of us. And after that, I crawled back into AA the next day. I've been here ever since. I was surrendered at that point, and I couldn't wait to get back into AA because I knew how good it was. I knew how good it felt to be sober during that 8 months. So I've been here ever since, and I love it. I love AA.
And you know, so that was like a long time ago
Yeah.
because you're like 40 something years sober, right?
45. Yeah.
45 years sober.
Mhm.
Now, along the way, I always find it to be kind of important, and one of the things that it always inspired me about you was your honesty about you didn't, how do I put this? I want to say this in the best kind of way, but sometimes the program can be very all or nothing for people. And you've always been very true to yourself in the fact that, you went for a long time without having a sponsor. You've always kind of done it what felt comfortable to you, even though you had obviously a lot of friends
Mhm.
but, because I remember going for a while without a sponsor and you shared about like, yeah, that's what I did. That was just how I did it. And nobody thinks any different of you or says like you're doing it wrong or you can't be here.
Nope. Oh, uh-uh. No, I wasn't feeling very good after several years, of doing it on my own, even though I could talk to my friends, but everybody that I knew was, kind of, younger in sobriety than myself, and I wasn't going to enough meetings. I was, riding motorcycles with my sober motorcycle girls, and we thought we were too cool for school. And, yeah, I kinda twisted my thinking, and I wasn't doing a good AA program at that time. I was lucky I didn't drink. I never really felt like drinking again or using or anything. I think I'm lucky, though, that I did go for that long without a sponsor, and now I have, a sponsor, and I'm very happy about it. Just knowing I check in once a week, and I'm just happy that she's there, and she doesn't direct me a lot, if I need it, she will, but, she listens and tells me what her thoughts are. It helps a lot.
And
And,
so was
like,
it only when you got sober that first time and you had a counselor, is that when you started to get some therapy and start making some connections?
I think that when I first started getting therapy, I was about already 2 years sober, and I had a breakup. I had a girlfriend that I met at the gym. I was about 2 years sober, and she was, thinking about moving on, and I was brokenhearted, and I didn't know how that kind of feeling in me, I didn't know how to deal with it, and I actually turned to food, and I was binge eating, and I was gaining all this weight, and I felt so disgusted with myself, and I was being bad at work 'cause I wasn't I was doing my job. I always did a good job, but I was in the field, so it's not like I was being watched. I would go to Griffith Park because my company was right across from there that I worked at, and I would take a nap over there, and then I'd go in and clock out or talk to my boss or whatever. So I was doing things that were damaging to me, you know, food and not doing my best at work. And that's when I decided I needed to go to therapy. I needed some kind of extra help. And
I
it
love
really
it.
helped me.
But you didn't have that urge with this breakup, you didn't have that urge to go get a gun and start threatening people.
No, no.
That's kind of a miracle.
It kind of is. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of those feelings left in me. And I really had a fantastic sponsor too when I was that young in sobriety. Her name was Sharon, and but I didn't know how to use her the way I should because she was willing, very willing, but I was still kind of doing things on my own, I think.
Right.
Mhm.
So you get some therapy,
Mhm.
you break up with this, you go through this breakup.
Right. Hmm.
Did it help you with did the therapy help you with the binge eating? And did you start to
Yes.
make some connections to, like, childhood and dealing with the alcoholic family of origin and all that stuff?
Well, that did come along, but I'd never gone to therapy before, and I'd just go in there and sit. I didn't know that I was supposed to go in there and talk about all kinds of problems. She did tell me, I told her I'm binge eating. She did tell me, "You need to quit that." And I got so scared that she was like uh, what do you call it? She was she she was a feminist, radical feminist lesbian, and she scared the fucking shit out of me, I'm telling you.
That's
So
one kind of therapy.
yeah, that was my first therapist. And then she had a group therapy thing too that she would run with us women. Some of them were Al-Anon women, some of them sober women. But anyway, I used to love that group too. But I listened to her. She was tougher than I was, I think.
That doesn't
Oh,
seem struggled with an eating disorder when I was young,
yeah.
but into my I want to say that tried to get therapy for it at, like, I want to say I was 20, 19, 20. It was before I was binge eating and then I was bulimic, the whole thing. But I went to see this therapist, and
Mhm.
I would go in and report what I ate. And I
Oh,
remember telling her that I had grape nuts for breakfast. I thought I was being really, like, good, like,
uh-huh.
really eating clean. I was trying to be, like, on a diet, and I told her I had grape nuts, and she said, "You know, grape nuts is a little heavy for breakfast. You should check the calories on that." And I still have a resentment about that this many years later. Like, that is not what you say to somebody who's already struggling with, like, eating disorder stuff. Like, "You're really grape nuts?" I thought I was doing pretty good eating grape nuts.
Sounds okay to me.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you say, the key to, I mean, you have long-term sobriety.
Yes. Uh-huh.
They say, the obsession is lifted at the beginning, but we
Mhm.
all know that we go through trials and tribulations and times where, but is it just because you got this new lifestyle and you didn't want to lose it? Like, what keeps you from ever feeling
Hey.
like, maybe I'll just have, like, a glass of wine, are you just like, "No," because
Mm.
that would lead to bar fights? Because you know it wouldn't anymore at this point.
It wouldn't be worth it, yeah. I think my when I came back after that relapse, I know it was early on, but I did not have a desire anymore. It just kinda left me. Now, I'm still an alcoholic and a drug addict, but, uh, it might flash once in a while, but it's like nothing. It's not anything I would do. Yeah. Nope.
Then let me ask you this, what keeps you coming back to a group
Yeah.
when you have 45 years under your belt? You know you're not gonna drink anymore,
Mhm.
you're just not gonna do that.
Right.
What is it, just you just love the other women, you love.
I do. I
Yeah.
do. I love them. I love meetings. I only go to 2 a week now, the Thursday and Saturday, but I just feel so happy when I go in there and I like to greet people and, uh, you know, I just love everyone, all the women in that meeting. It's the best thing ever. I never wanna not have that. Yeah.
Well, I love it when you lead a meeting and you tell the old gunplay stories and people just go, "Wait,
Uh-huh.
what? Not you, Rob. That's
I
crazy."
know, they can't believe it. I know. I still have a gun.
Oh my god. Well,
But
I adore you and thank you for sharing your story. And
well,
I'm gonna keep you anonymous, I think. And so maybe if somebody really feels like they want to find you, they can talk to me.
okay, whatever you decide.
Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good. again.